everybody. Welcome to Attitudes with Andy. My name is Andy, and this is the place where we learn how to build our base level of happiness up so we can be the healthiest, wealthiest, and happiest humans you've ever friggin' met. So if that sounds like something you want to be a part of, feel free to press follow or subscribe on whatever platform you're on. And if you're on Spotify, especially, please do press follow because we almost have 1,000 friends on this platform alone. So help me get to 1,000. Okay, so today we are talking about motivation. I put a little question box on my Instagram, and this is something that came up quite a few times that people wanted help with. So let's talk about motivation. As you have probably, figured out, motivation, it really comes and it really goes. We feel motivated to start that new exercise routine, to start eating healthier, to start that business, to start posting on Instagram, whatever it is. We've felt that motivation and then we've taken action. And then, oh no, it's gone. It's gone. And you're like, motivation, where are you? Really need you right now to get stuff done. So unfortunately, motivation does come and go and we can't rely on that. But that's okay because today I'm going to talk about frameworks that you can use to keep showing up and taking action regardless of motivation. The next thing I want to say is motivation. Yes, it gets you going and it definitely can help you start. However, if you're starting something that's really scary, and it probably will feel scary if it means something to you, so that's okay, it is going to feel really uncomfortable and really icky, and you're actually not going to want to take action towards it, okay? It's such a parallel and messed up thing, and I don't like it, but that's just how it is. Because when we're starting something new, we're going into unknown territory. Our brains, our bodies have never experienced this before, okay? So our mind is like, yo, this is dangerous. This is danger. I've never been here before. Please, can we go back? So it's going to create all the icky feelings, all the negative things to make sure we go back to our comfort zone. So that is why you might, on one hand, want to start a podcast, but then on the other hand, be terrified to show up online and therefore you're like, oh, but I'm just not motivated to record my episode. Okay? Are you unmotivated or are you actually just really scared? So I think don't take being unmotivated as a sign that you shouldn't do something, okay? I so often don't feel motivated to take action towards my goals, but I just do it anyway because I just know, actually, this is my brain. It's just trying to protect itself. I don't have to take this as truth, so I'm just going to take action, okay? So that's just something I really wanted to preface before we get into this. Okay, next thing to talk about is when you are unmotivated, it could be one, you're very fearful and you're trying to protect yourself if you're doing something that is very big and scary. Or two, do you just plain old not give a hoot about the thing you're doing, okay? For example, are you working a job that bores the heck out of you and you would rather do anything under the sun than doing your job, okay? And you might think, oh my gosh, I'm just so unmotivated. What's wrong with me? And you're like picking yourself apart. But at the end of the day, do you just not give a goddamn hoot what you're actually doing? Okay. I remember when I was at uni, I was like, oh my goodness, this feels painful to take action. Because I'm going to be honest, I did not give a crap about what I was doing. Okay. And so that also plays a very big role. We want to distinguish, am I not taking action because of fear and I'm self-sabotaging, or am I not taking action because I just don't give a hoot about it, okay? You need to distinguish that. You will probably feel it in your gut. The best way to distinguish, do I actually just not care, or am I trying to protect myself and I should do it anyway, is think about the long-term outcome. If you think about, for example, you're not motivated to do your job. Think, if I was here in this job, in this role in 5 years' time, what does that feel like? If you feel sick in your stomach and you feel like a lot of fear and that does not feel good, then you're probably not enjoying your job. But if you feel expansive and excited about it, then you probably do enjoy it and you're just scared to work hard or you're scared to show up as your ideal self. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. You know what? I'm going to back that it does. Okay, so basically we are going to get into how to show up consistently, but just in a little recap. Motivation, it comes and goes. We can't rely on it. We will feel scared and icky when we are doing something new, doing something we've always wanted to do. So don't take that as face value. And something to keep in mind, if you really, really are constantly unmotivated to do something, do you just not enjoy it? And what can you do to change that? It's okay if the idea of changing that scares you, but you need to do that because otherwise it's going to be soul-sucking. I have worked a job in the past that I just did not enjoy. I severely disliked it and it was painful and exhausting to show up. Whereas when you do something that you actually really enjoy, it is so much easier to show up and do the thing, okay? All right, let's get into it. I'm just shimming over my laptop for some notes because that makes me look professional, I feel. Okay, so in order to get shit done, damn it, I didn't want to swear. In order to get stuff done, we need a really compelling why, okay? This is going to be your reason for being or doing that particular thing. For example, if you're like, I really want to get fit this year, that is not really a big enough why, okay? Like, oh, why am I going to the gym? Because I want to be fit. There's not much emotion around that. That's not going to motivate you for long at all. Even if it's something like, oh yeah, I really want to be shredded or lean. Again, that is such a surface value. It's just not a very good goal. It's just not, there's not much emotion there. However, if you're like, I really want to get fit and healthy so that I can be running around with my children and play with them, there is so much more emotion to that why. And so when it is Sunday afternoon and you don't want to get off the couch, but then you think, no, but I want to be able to play with my children and be energetic for them, you find the time and energy to do that. So we want a very compelling why. We can have an overarching why. For example, my why in life is to spread joy and empower people. That's what feels really good for me. I'm allowed to change that at any moment. We get to choose our why because there's nobody there being like, no, this is actually your why. So choose something that feels good for you, and it's okay if you don't know your overarching theme, but that's what feels good for me, and that's what I'm rolling with. And then sometimes even that doesn't get me through everything that I need to do. So then my other why is I do not want to be older and looking back on my life and regretting things. I know I've spoken about this 1,000,000 times, but it really, really is a very big fear of mine because I think we'll always regret the things we didn't do over the things we did do. Even if we did them and it didn't go quote unquote well, but then we learned from it or we pivoted and then from that we grew something. You know what I mean? Like I would so much rather just try something and then learn from it and pivot than not try it at all and just always wonder what if. Okay, so those are my two biggest whys for doing something. Okay, so pick your why for why you want to start going to the gym or why you want to start this business or why you want to start this podcast. Make sure it feels really good and it like lights you up when you think of it or when you speak it out loud. It should feel magnetic and expansive. Yeah? Yeah. Okay. Whoa, I haven't really taken a breath. Okay. So, cool. Okay, next thing is to kind of quote unquote be motivated or to just keep going on your path that you want to walk down that feels compelling and exciting. We want to kind of break down where we want to be into small, actionable chunks. So because I'm in my 20s, I know that so much can change in a year. So I know people have 5-year plans. That's actually not my cup of tea. That is too much in the future. And I know so much changes. I know vaguely where I want to be or how I want to feel in aspects of my life, but I'm not being specific because I love I love that things turn around and pivot. I don't know about you, but I look at where I was a year ago and I'm like, man, like so much has changed already, or even 6 months ago, crazy. Wild. So where was I going with that point? That was a fun little ramble. No. Okay. So we want to break down our goals. I usually work in yearly or 6-month goals, and then I break them down and think, okay, what do I need to do consistently? What do I need to do monthly? What do I need to do weekly, daily, whatever it is to show up and achieve that? Okay. And also writing down milestones or breaking things down into chunks makes it feel so much more achievable. It makes you feel like you're making progress because you're like, cool, I've hit that milestone and then I've hit that milestone. And just make sure you celebrate each of these steps because that's going to build so much momentum. And momentum is way better than motivation, okay? So if you just start exercising every single day, whether it's even just a 20-minute walk for a month, at the beginning, it's just like going to be quite the effort and you're going to put it in. But by the end of the month, you've built this rhythm, you've built this routine, and it is actually just so much easier to just continue exercising every single day than being like, oh, I'll exercise tomorrow, but not the next day. You know what I mean? It's so much easier to actually consistently show up than randomly here and there show up because you've just made it the rule. You're like, no matter what, I exercise. No matter what, I choose foods that feel good, that make me feel good. Okay. Yes, there can be a few exceptions here and there, but it is so much easier to show up every single day than to just show up here and there. Okay. Enjoying the journey is a very important process of being motivated. So that is why rewarding yourself with lots of little things is really crucial. If you're planning to build an empire or to, climb that corporate ladder, whatever it is you want to do, if you're like, oh, I'll be happy when I'm in X position, when I have X amount of money, or I have this house or whatever it is, like these massive milestones, I got news for you. You will not be happy. I promise you that. You will always move the goalposts. So make the journey enjoyable, because if you enjoy the journey, you're going to be able to be consistent. You're going to be able to play the long game. And that is when you see results. This podcast has almost been running for 2 years. That is an episode every single week for 2 years. That's insane. And I know that might not seem that long, but actually it's a really long time. And towards the end of last year, I was definitely burning out. So I asked myself, how can I make this actually a lot more maintainable and consistent so that I can show up for the next 5 years? Okay. And so I actually, instead of doing 2 podcasts a week, I do 1 podcast a week, because I would rather show up every single week instead of just going all out and then burning out. Okay. So make it enjoyable, break it down into chunks, and just keep stepping forward. Use momentum, not motivation, to get to where you want to be. Okay, I hope that helps. I believe in you. If you want any more positive content, feel free to come say howdy on our Instagram channel at Attitudes with Auntie. And please press follow or subscribe. As I mentioned before, we're trying to hit 1,000 friends on Spotify, and obviously get the YouTube up, because YouTube algorithm, she needs a redo, okay? We need some more friends on here, so yeah. Okay, anyway, I'm being needy now, so I'm going to go. I'll see you next week. I love you so much, and thank you again for listening to this podcast. Okay, bye.